Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. Welcome back, everybody. I was just thinking of this episode of Seinfeld where it was, you're the master of your domain. Now, yes, they meant something different in that, by those words in that episode, yes, but you really are the master of your domain. What you think, the things you do, really do create your life. It's been proven before. So wouldn't it be great to harness that and intentionally create the life you want?
Yes.
It's called manifestation. We're going to talk about that today. She's a law of assumption coach. She helps you with that. Today, it's having faith in the process of those things showing up that you really want in life. Sue Carabello is our professional of the year. She's back with us. How's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
Very well. Very well. Loving what we're going to talk about today in having faith in the process of manifestation.
Yes.
And even faith in all the other things around, whatever they may be. Faith in yourself, faith in a higher presence, whether it's a God, the universe, whatever it is. How do you find that faith and how do you keep that faith?
That is, the $1 million question. It's really connecting with that source within you and knowing that that source within you is connected to that greater higher power, whether it's God, the universe, source, whatever you believe in, recognizing that you already have that connection with that higher source by connecting to your heart space. And if you can connect within here, like I'll call it our heart brain, it's got the same, capabilities as your mind. Your heart can create from the same space. This is created, is connected to source. Our soul, right, which is right in here, is connected to source. And if we want to create something beautiful and magical in our experience, it really is not only having faith in yourself, having faith and trust in what is in your soul, but recognizing the connection between you and that higher power.
Deep stuff. So let's say you've gotten to the point where you're believing that manifestation works. You're already there. All the principles, it does work. And let's say you truly believe that things are in your destiny.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Whatever they are. That person showing up. I'm going to live there. This is my house. This is all. I believe the good stuff is coming. I believe I deserve it. I believe I've done the right things to lead up to it.
Yes.
Hasn't shown up yet.
It all comes in divine order.
Yes.
And that's nothing that we can't control when they come in. That's where the faith remains, right?
So you brought me there.
Yeah.
So, and yes, it shows up in its own time. How do you keep the faith as you're climbing that mountain of manifestation to know that it will be here? It will be done on earth.
Yes.
How do you keep that?
And that's basically what my practice, and as a coach, I teach. It's thinking not of the state or the desire, but thinking from the desire, right? That's an embodiment and that's who you are. So when you recognize that everything that you desire, you already have within you. And I'm going to share a quote from this book that called The Power of Awareness.
Sure.
So you're not really looking for the thing itself, but the consciousness, the feeling of already being the person you want to be, of already having the thing that you desire. So it's not really looking for the thing, but rather having that feeling of already achieving that desire. That's what calls it into your experience. It's that embodiment. It's that choice that you make every morning that I'm going to get up and be the person that I wish to be. I'm not going to let the things outside of me determine whether I'm going to be happy, whether or not I'm going to feel safe, whether or not I'm going to feel loved, whether or not I'm going to feel chosen. These are all things that you can give to yourself, right? You are the source of all those things. You're the source of your happiness. You're the source of your abundance. You're the source of love, right? So many times when we're looking for a relationship, with another person, right? We're looking to call in our specific person. Most of the times we think that love is something we're getting from them when the source of love is really you, right?
For sure.
It's in here. And we need to fill up our own cup and recognize in those moments when we're desperate and needy and seeking that love outside of ourselves or anything, not just love, but like that money and that abundance, recognizing that we have that already within us. It's already in our soul to achieve all these things that we wish to achieve. But if we don't pull that up into our awareness that we already have that, and thinking from that state of being that I am that, I am that, I am that person that I desire to be. I am that person that can be happy. I am that person that is loved. I choose love for me. And when I choose love for me, I selflessly give it to others. That is the way it works. You have to fill up your own cup, and not selfishly, not saying to not give it to others, but recognize that when you give to you and fill yourself up with all that love, that abundance, that success that you want, naturally giving it to other people is just secondary to who you are, right? Because you're not, at this point, you're not seeking that love from outside of you. You're not seeking that validation or acceptance from somebody else. You are the source of it all.
And you think of those people in your life that fit that. And when you think hard, sometimes they show up. You realize, that person, they look like they got it going on. They're so happy, and they're just giving. They're not physically giving, so to speak. Energetically, I'm there for you. You need something, they seem like they're in a good place. They seem like they're in a good place.
Yes, and it's recognizing that sometimes we may need to overcome our own self-limitations, where we may have been people pleasers in the past, right? Where we're giving because it's what we were taught to do, where we just give, to earn, right?
Yeah.
I give to you, I get something back. It's like a give and receive. It's a push-pull. But when you step into that state of embodiment where you are recognizing now, right? It's just a perception shift. I can give selflessly because I am selfless. Right? So then you receive selflessly from other people. So you're not giving just to get something in return. You're giving because it is who you are. It's that embodiment state. It is your beingness. It is recognizing that you are the source of everything that you wish to be and achieve in this lifetime.
All right. I'm full of deeper questions today.
Yes, sure.
So let's say that you want to change in your life. You've manifested, maybe not as deep as you can.
Sure.
But you feel that in order to make it happen, changes need to take place around you, or you need to make a change.
Right.
To make that happen. Do you start, I don't want to say worrying about the changes, but concerning yourself with them? And I'm talking about, maybe it's relationships, maybe it's logistics to attain this thing over here that you truly believe is coming your way. You're there in the manifestation. This is it. You believe it. It should be yours. But now you're looking, well, I can't do that unless, I got to do this and got to do that. Should you just let it happen?
Yes. That's where the faith comes in, right? It's never your job to know about the how. It's your job to remain faithful to the end, which is whether it's the relationship, whether it is getting a new vehicle, whether it's getting a new job. Our job is not to concern ourselves with how it's going to arrive. Our job is to remain faithful to what we believe. It's to being faithful to what we know within our heart, right? And if you can remain faithful to that, that's where the shifts happen. Because when you create from in here, when you're creating from your soul, you're sending a direct signal to source, to God, to the universe, whatever you believe in, that this is who I am, right? You don't physically have to go around making moves. The universe will guide you to where you need to go. They will guide you to the places where you're going to meet these people that are meant to be in your experience. They will take you to the car dealership to buy you that Tesla that you're meant to have, right? You don't physically have to be like, oh, I'm a Tesla driver, I'm going to go right out and buy one. no, you kind of have to, not kind of, you definitely have to feel like a Tesla driver before you actually get in the vehicle and drive that car, right? You have to imagine yourself. Especially if a Tesla is not a car that's maybe in your budget, right? How is that car going to come into your experience? It's not just dropping, your Honda off and just driving a Tesla.
Right.
That's, that's great, right?
That's called illegal. That's called illegal.
Right. Yeah. You still have to sign the paperwork.
Yeah.
But the idea behind it is that you are very comfortable in being a Honda driver, and a Tesla is a little bit more, financially
bougie.
Out of your means, right? Let's just say that you're used to paying like $500 a month, and the Tesla's going to be $1,000 a month, right? That's the jump. But if you can embody that state, it's not your job to figure out the means in between. Your job is to focus on the fact that I am someone who drives a Tesla, and envision yourself, embody that state of being, and remain faithful to it until it shows up into your experience. Now, here's the thing. It could show up tomorrow, right? If you truly believe and embody that state. But you need to be very clear on what it is that you desire. So it's not really the thing that you desire, but the experience or the feeling that is what you're craving, rather than the physical manifestation of the vehicle, right? You want to feel successful, right? If you're driving a Tesla, you want to feel successful. If you're driving a Honda, you want to feel successful, but maybe more safe, right? Like a Honda is reliable, right? And it's safe, it's comfort, right? It's that feeling of comfort or safety is what you're seeking. A Honda's probably a little bit more in that range of comfort and safety, right? Because I think they even, they'll tell you can drive a Honda up to 300,000 miles.
Yeah, and they hold their value. There's,
they hold their value, and it's reliable. You can drive that car for 25 years. I know I had a 2000 Honda Accord. We sold it about 2 years ago. That car had 170,000 miles. It's still running, amazingly.
Yep.
A Tesla just is in a different energy, right? Yes, they're reliable, but they have a different vibe than a Honda.
But you may be somebody who feels, I'm a Honda driver, but I am so into technology. I'm also very green with the environment.
Yeah.
And I just know that Tesla fits me. And it'd be cool to be driving one. My friends would be impressed, and I will feel good about myself and all of that. Then that's getting you probably 3/4 there.
Exactly. And that's the embodiment, right? It's letting go of the stories of why you can't have the Tesla, right? I can't have the Tesla. I don't have the budget for it.
Those are the hows.
Those are the hows, right? Your job is not to know about the how.
Right.
Your job is to remain faithful to the end, which is I can drive that Tesla if I choose to do so, because that's what I choose to experience in my life. That's the gift that we've all been given from Source, right? We've all been given the same gift to create the life the way that we desire. But many times we shut down what our soul's telling us versus what our ego is telling us. Deep question. What about when you feel something doesn't support you? And I'm going to go personal here. Sure.
Always wanted to live in a warmer climate, even since I was in my 20s.
Yeah.
I even looked for some jobs, wasn't confident enough to make changes, and on and on and on and on and on. But more and more, I feel like where I am now is where I grew up. Doesn't really fit me anymore. It just doesn't. And I spent the last 3 days with a coworker on the beach. He had a Airbnb. He's like, yeah, man, if you want to come strategize work. And I'm like, yeah, all right, so, sure. Haven't been away in a while. Just needed a break. Get there. I literally got back last night. Get there. And I had, we did work, but I had, books that we're going to read. I was going to do this and do that. And I don't have to worry about all this other stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't do any of that except sit and stare at the water.
And that's
sit and stare at the water. But it came clearer than ever that where I am and what I'm doing, in not what I'm doing, but the way I'm living now, it doesn't fit anymore.
It's out of alignment.
It's done. It's that needs to. This is where I belong.
Right.
Wherever that's going to be, but a warmer climate, et cetera, et cetera. even it just it doesn't fit. So
Yeah.
that to me makes it feel even more. That's got to be, and I even took pictures of houses on the beach. What the heck not? I'm going to put that in a vision board. Why not?
Yeah.
Even looked at the prices, but I was like, it's more reasonable than where I am now, but it's still, way out there if you want something on the beach.
Yeah.
But for those times where you feel that this is not working, how do you take that and turn it into this?
That's where faith comes in. It's literally, can you persist in the new story for yourself? And persistence is a big thing. Like, if we don't, there's a saying that is, what you resist persists. So if you can't let go of the past, if you can't let go of the story surrounding why you can't have that experience, you're going to experience it again until you sit with that uncomfortable feeling. And most of the times, what is actually holding us back are those uncomfortable feelings, those stories that are like, I can't do this. I don't know how this is going to happen. Right. And our logical mind wants to get involved and create for us. And that's great. But there's many times where you just have to remain faithful to what your soul is telling you and remain faithful to the end. So if you're wanting a home on the beach, that might be just a cue from your higher self, your, God, your soul saying, you can have this experience, but you need to let go of something else in order to experience it, or let go of the story that you can't have that experience. And when you work with me, we don't look at why you can't have it. We look at the story that you're telling yourself that you can't have it, right? Because that's literally all it is. Because when we can get to the root and pull the root up and take it out to the trash, we can plant a new seed that will serve us better.
And I guess that goes back to the logistics, because you may say, well, I can't, use me as an example. I can't move there because I'm here, and here I have this and that commitment, and I have that. But if you go deeper, like you said, pull the roots out, the commitment really isn't what you might have thought. Again, I'm hypothetical, but there's more to the story than you might see, and that's what you uncover.
Exactly. And that's what, like, when you work with me, that's what we uncover is, where is that story stemming from? Right? Because that's all it is. And if we can let go of the story of, I'm not a Tesla driver. We go back to the car. I'm just used to driving Hondas. Okay. But, if you really want a Tesla, you could have that, so how would you embody that state of being? Something simple to get you into that end state is to go take a test drive of the car, right? You don't have to make a commitment.
Right.
All you have to do is just go into the car dealership, sit in the vehicle, right? Imagine yourself with the hands on the steering wheel, like, looking at the board, the
dashboard.
The dashboard. And
well, actually, it's a monitor.
The monitor, right? Because this is about the size of a computer, but
sure,
taking that and maybe taking it out for a test drive.
Yep.
And I will use myself as an example. So probably 3 years ago, I bought myself a BMW. It was a used BMW. It was not the greatest car. Had a lot of problems. I bought it off the lot. It was used. Had an engine issue. I loved the outside of it, but the inside of the vehicle was just not that great. So the engine needed to be replaced a week after I purchased the vehicle. So I bought it from a Honda dealer, and they gave me a Honda to drive around in for, I want to say it was like 4 weeks while they rebuilt the engine on this car. And every week I would call and be like, is the car ready? And they're like, no, we need to get something else. It literally came down to, I made one last phone call, and I was driving now this Honda, and I was like, oh my God, I love this car. Like, it's brand new. It's got all the bells and whistles. It's got the leather seats. It's got this, that, and the other thing. And I'm like, gosh, I just love this car. So what ended up happening was I had to call the Honda dealer back and ask for my money back on the other car. I didn't know how to do it, but at this point I knew that I would take a Honda over the BMW. And they were like, we can't give you your money back. It was final sale. And I'm like, okay, but can I, I'm not asking for my money back. Can I trade it in and take the Honda that is on the lot with the same bells and whistles, basically even exchange, I'll pay for the taxes and the difference. And they were like, absolutely. And I'm like, great. So what ended up happening was the car that I was meant to have, right? Because now I had seen myself driving this Honda. I was loving it. It was easy for the universe just to slide that in and be like, yep, here you go.
Wow.
Take the Honda. The price was the same as I paid for the BMW. It was a few years old, newer than the BMW, and had no problems. Like the engine worked, everything on the car was fantastic. So
let's dig into this a little bit.
Yeah.
Were you a Honda driver before?
Yes.
You were. Okay.
My dominant belief is that Hondas are the best cars on the market.
So you pivoted over to the BMW, but interesting how the universe, no pun intended, but maybe, turned the car around the other way for you, and you wound up in a Honda again.
Yes.
And we're very happy with it.
I was very happy because it's the energy, right? Your dominant beliefs are what create. Everybody in my family now drives a Honda. Why? It's my belief in creating that for them.
Well,
that Hondas are just reliable. They're great cars. You can drive them for years. They just are that good, right? But that's my dominant belief. If I believe that about a BMW, then of course I would have that experience. I had a BMW prior to this other BMW, and I had the same problems with that one that I had with this one. It's like, but it's all energy.
What's showing up here for me is that the universe knew better than you.
Always does.
Right. Because it got you back into a Honda. But did it do it because that's best for you? But then maybe it is best for you because that is your core belief that those are great vehicles. It supported you in the past. Yes. You try to change it up. I'm driving a vehicle now.
And I was very specific about it. So to give you a little insight, my son, we bought him a Nissan when he was a freshman at Penn State. And the transmission on the car went. When I got the Honda, I said to my ex-husband, I was like, I want Christian to get a car that's reliable, that's safe, and that can get him back and forth safely to college. Like that was my goal. Mm-hmm. So I didn't think twice when his car was not working and that he needed a new transmission. I was like, here, take my car for the reasons I just explained to you. It's safe. It can get you back and forth to school.
Yep.
It's not a problem. And who knew that a year later, I would be driving another Honda and he would be driving the car that I originally bought with those ideas in mind. It's reliable. It's safe. It's going to, get you back and forth to school. And I don't have to worry when you're driving on the turnpike to get there, right? Like I know you'll make it there safely because Hondas are just that. And that's my dominant belief. So of course the universe has to support that, right? The universe supports whatever you dominantly believe.
Yeah, we're out of time, but I think that's a great way to end. The universe is supporting what your dominant belief is.
Exactly.
So Hondas are great cars. My friend had one for years, like all good.
Yeah.
It's not my belief. The vehicle I have now, I'm on the third one over years. Last year, 2 years ago, the subframe rusted out. Big deal. Not, like the frame. It's a frame within a frame. The wheels are going to come off. And how does that rust out? It's not like I'm on the beach, doing Baja.
Yeah.
But I now wonder, it's time for a new vehicle. And that was costly to fix, by the way.
Yeah.
I still wonder if I should pivot to another vehicle, but I still feel connected to this vehicle for some reason. This line of vehicles. So I have a feeling that I'm going to wind up with that. But the core belief, it's interesting how the universe
supports whatever you dominantly believe.
Yeah, there you go.
And that's where the faith comes in. Like I could change my belief at any time about cars, right? That's something easy. But
sure.
What I teach other people is that faith and that story and those beliefs come from within here. So if you know that something is meant for you to experience, you have to go all in and have faith in that, like sight unseen, and it's persisting in that faith that, the universe supports whatever I believe, right? So we don't have to worry about the how. I think Neville Goddard, I just referred to this book before, says, how can I explain it? Just go to Barbados. You're in Barbados. Like that was his big thing, right? He wants you to believe from the end. If you're looking to get to Barbados, it's not thinking of Barbados. It's actually envisioning yourself being in Barbados. Like that's and like that's thinking from the end, right? You're there enjoying the beach and enjoying the sand and the music and the great food. But instead of thinking, it would be so nice to go to Barbados, there's two different energies, right? You don't have it. When you think from the end, you're already there.
We have to end, but all I'm going to say to you, Sue, is I never mentioned a Caribbean island. Barbados has a major meaning for me.
Oh, really?
You have no idea. I don't know where that came from. We can talk about that offline. That's weird.
It's synchronistic. Nothing's weird. Synchronistic.
It's almost as if that's, my phone rang in my head. Like, there you go. There's another. I came back yesterday, telling everybody I'm connected to, like, why the hell do we live where we live? You could live somewhere warmer, cheaper, blah, 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 and all of that. I'm at the point where it's maybe not Barbados, but
it's close. It's close.
But the Barbados thing, that was freaky.
Sorry.
Anyway, how do we find you?
My website address is www.suecarabello.com, or you can visit me on Instagram at SusanCarabello_.
You're not just a law of assumption coach. You're a coach at the same time. It's, you know what I'm saying? In terms of you getting back to, this is not about rah, 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 believe in what you want. It's going to show up. It's more about what's going on over here in your mind. Let me help you fix that so you can get what you want and desire.
Yeah, I teach people about energy and how to be mindful of their energy, how energy works, and how to consciously and deliberately create. You have the power within you.
Yep.
Like we always think it's external, it's always within here. We change first, the outside changes after what we believe.
Great talk today.
Yes, it was awesome.
Super cool.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Right.
We'll get together soon, all right?
Yes, thanks.
We'll be right back.
Bye.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Can I touch this? Where does sand come from? Is this tree good for climbing? What happens if I mix these two things together? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Storing your guns securely is the best way to prevent family fire, including unintentional shootings. For more information on safe gun storage and ways to keep your family safe, visit endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org.
What do we keep in the attic? What's this thing called? Can I ride my bike backwards?
Like I said, kids are curious. It's up to us to keep them safe. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.